Hello friends, welcome to another video from BioShorts. In this video, we are going to talk about the disorders of muscular and skeletal system. So first of all, we will talk about the disorders of muscular system. In this, we will be discussing three important diseases. The first disease is the muscular dystrophy. Muscular dystrophy is a genetic disorder which is caused by a mutation of the gene located on X chromosome. So the gene for muscular dystrophy is located on the X chromosome. The normal gene codes for a protein which is called as the dystrophin protein. This dystrophin protein is necessary for the coordinated muscle fiber contraction. The protein is actually present in between the muscle fibers. So in between muscle fibers is present this dystrophin protein, and these dystrophin proteins, they are essential for the coordinated contraction of the muscle fibers. So dystrophin controls the coordinated contraction of muscle fibers. In its absence, because of the mutation of its gene, the muscle fibers fail to undergo a coordinated contraction. As a result of it, the muscle gradually weakens and it becomes atrophied. There are two forms of muscular dystrophy. One form is a very severe one and is called as the Duchenne muscular dystrophy. In Duchenne muscular dystrophy, there is no production of the dystrophin protein. There is no production of dystrophin protein. As a result of this disease, the symptoms of disease are very severe, and this condition, the disease becomes fatal by the age of the 30 years. The another form of muscular dystrophy is called as Becker's dystrophy. In case of the Becker's dystrophy, a little amount of the dystrophin protein is synthesized. But that little amount of dystrophin therefore results in milder symptoms. As a result of this Becker's dystrophy is a milder form of the disease than the Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So in case of Becker's dystrophy, a little amount of dystrophin is produced. So here the symptoms are milder as compared to the Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So if you see, in case of this dystrophy, there is progressive weakening of the muscles. So muscles become progressively weak. Here is the normal muscle, and this represents the atrophied muscle. And atrophied muscles, if the respiratory muscle gets atrophied, that becomes fatal and that leads to death. So this was about the first disorder of the muscular system, that is dystrophy. The second disorder of the muscular system is myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune disorders are those disorders where the body's immune system attacks its own cells or molecules. In case of myasthenia gravis, the antibodies are produced against the acetylcholine receptors of the muscle fibers. We know that a muscle fiber contracts when a nerve impulse reaches to the sarcolemma. When nerve impulse reaches to the sarcolemma, at the neuromuscular junction, neurotransmitter acetylcholine is released. Let us have a look at its diagram. So here, this is the normal neuromuscular junction towards the left. So a nerve impulse reaches to the axon terminal, and axon terminal at the neuromuscular junction releases the neurotransmitter, and the neurotransmitter at all neuromuscular junctions is always acetylcholine. On the sarcolemma of the muscle fibers are present acetylcholine receptors. These acetylcholine receptors bind with the acetylcholine and result in the transmission of neuroimpulse via T-tubules to the sarcoplasm, which then initiates the muscle contraction. But in case of myasthenia gravis, the antibodies bind with the acetylcholine receptors and result in their blockage. The blockage of the acetylcholine receptors means that no acetylcholine will bind with the sarcolemma. As a result of this, there will be no nerve conduction into the sarcoplasm. as a result of which the muscle fails to contract. The continuous failure of a muscle to contract again results in the muscular dystrophy. So muscular dystrophy again of for example, respiratory muscles can become fatal. The initial symptoms of myasthenia gravis are the following. For example, the person may have a drooping eyelids, which means ptosis. So the person has the drooping eyelids. Another symptom of the myasthenia gravis is that there occurs the double vision. There is double vision. Another symptom of myasthenia gravis is that the person may also have the blurred vision. These are some of the initial symptoms of the myasthenia gravis. Now, the third type of disorder, muscular disorder, is called as the poliomyelitis. In poliomyelitis, this disease is caused by the infection of a virus, which is an RNA virus. So, poliomyelitis, unlike the first two disorders, is caused due to an infection. It is an infective disease which is caused because of a retrovirus. The virus enters the body through fecal-oral route, which means that the virus gains entry into the body by taking contaminated food or the contaminated water. The virus then multiplies in the intestine, and afterwards it migrates to the brain, to the spinal cord. It migrates to the spinal cord where the virus damages the motor neurons. So let us have a look. So in this case, in poliomyelitis, what poliomyelitis virus does is that after multiplication in the intestine, the virus will enter the bloodstream and reach the spinal cord. In the spinal cord, the virus damages the ventral root. Now, ventral root has the motor neurons. Now, unless the motor neurons send signals to the muscle fibers, the muscle fibers fail to contract. Muscle fibers will contract only when the motor neurons will bring impulses to them and release acetylcholinesterase, which transmits the nerve impulse into muscle fibers, and muscle fiber contracts. But here, in this case, the motor neurons are damaged. Because motor neurons are damaged, motor neurons fail to send signals to the muscle fibers. As a result of this, there is paralysis of the muscles. Now, if the virus affects the motor neurons of supplying the lower limbs, then it will lead to the paralysis of the lower limbs. But if the motor neuron supplies to the respiratory muscles, then at that time it may become fatal and can lead to death. So this was about the 3 disorders of the muscular system. So here we have discussed 3 orders of muscular system, and these 3 orders we have discussed: muscular dystrophy, myasthenia gravis, and poliomyelitis. Let us now look at the disorders of the skeletal system. So among the disorders of the skeletal system, the first disorder is arthritis. Arthritis is called as the inflammation of joints. There are different reasons for the joints becoming inflamed. One of the reasons is the rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disorder. Here again, the antibodies that are against a streptococcal toxin attack the synovial membrane of the joints. So here in this case of rheumatoid arthritis, immunoglobulin molecules or antibody molecules, they attack the synovial membranes of the joints. The attack of immunoglobulin molecules on the synovial membrane results in the inflammation of the synovial membrane. As a result of this inflammation, the synovial membrane starts producing more and more synovial fluid. As a result of this, the entire joint becomes inflamed, and the person suffers a lot of pressure and pain in the joints. Later on, the synovial membrane, it starts producing certain granules, and those granules then start damaging the cartilage surrounding the synovial membrane. Let us have a look at the different stages of the rheumatoid arthritis. So here are the different stages of rheumatoid arthritis. So on towards the left is the healthy joint, where you can see that at the joint the bones are lined by the cartilage. So this is the hyaline cartilage. The cartilage that is shown in the blue, this represents the hyaline cartilage, and this the outer one represents here the membrane, which is called as synovial membrane. So in the first stage of the disease, which is called as synovitis, in synovitis what happens is that the antibody molecules start attacking the synovial membrane. As a result of this, the synovial membrane becomes inflamed. So here is the synovial membrane becoming inflamed. So this results in the inflammation of the synovial membrane. So synovial membrane, meanwhile, these antibodies also start attacking the cartilage, the hyaline cartilage. This stage is the initial stage and is called as synovitis. Synovitis simply means the inflammation of the joint. Later on, the inflamed synovial membrane will start producing a granular exudate. Those granular exudates are called as pannus. So those pannus will then start further damaging the cartilage. So in the second stage, you can see here that cartilage has almost been completely damaged. This stage is therefore called as the pannus stage. In the third stage of the disease, there is further progression of the disease. This time, the joint is invaded by the fibrous connective tissue. So the joint between the two bones is now invaded by the fibrous tissue. Now at this stage, there is further inflammation, continuous inflammation of the synovial membrane, and because of the invasion of the fibrous connective tissue, the joint now becomes immobile. At the final stage of the joint, there is ossification of the fibrous connective tissue. The ossification of the fibrous connective tissue results in complete merge of the two bones, making the joint completely immovable. So this disease is called as the arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. And rheumatoid arthritis is an actually autoimmune disease. Here antibodies that were actually directed against the streptococcal toxin, they start attacking the body's own cells. So this type of arthritis is called as rheumatoid arthritis. Now another type of arthritis is called as the osteoarthritis. In case of osteoarthritis, osteoarthritis is a disease which is caused because of the normal wear and tear of the joint. So it is actually an age-related disorder. Due to the continuous wear and tear of the joint, the cartilage that covers the free ends of the bones or the ends of the bones which make the joint, that cartilage is gradually being eroded. The erosion of the cartilage exposes the bony ends, making the joint very painful. So this type of arthritis is called as osteoarthritis. Again, let us have a look at its image. So here is the osteoarthritis. Towards the left is the healthy joint, and in the healthy joint, you can here see in the gray is the cartilage. This cartilage is intact and joint is healthy. In the image towards the right, you can see that the cartilage is now being eroded. So here cartilage is being eroded, and with the erosion of the cartilage, which is caused because of the continuous wear and tear, this exposes the bony ends, and bony ends will then cause the painful inflammation. So this is called as the osteoarthritis. Now the third and final type of arthritis is called as the gouty arthritis. As far as gouty arthritis is concerned, it is a metabolic disorder. This is caused either because of the higher production of uric acid. The person is producing more uric acid than the normal individuals, or it is caused because of failure of the excretion of uric acid from the body. Uric acid from the body. So from the body, the both conditions, either of the two conditions or both, they result in the higher levels of uric acid in the blood. As a result of this, the uric acid of the blood uric acid level that will rise. The excess uric acid will then get converted into some crystals of monosodium urate crystals. Uric acids, the excess uric acid in the blood, it gets transformed into monosodium urate crystals, and those monosodium urate crystals later get deposited in the joint. And the deposition of these monosodium urate crystals or the uric acid crystals, they result in the erosion of the joints, resulting in their painful inflammation. Again, let us have a look at the image of the gouty arthritis. So here is the gouty arthritis. Here you can see that this joint is being invaded by the uric acid crystals, and those uric acid crystals, they start eroding the cartilage of the joint and resulting in causing the painful inflammation of the joint. So this was about the gouty arthritis. So we have seen arthritis is of three types. First is rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disorder. Second, we have seen is the osteoarthritis, which is an age-related disorder, degenerative disorder, caused because of continuous wear and tear. And third, we have seen the gouty arthritis, which is caused because of a metabolic disorder. Gouty arthritis has been found more common in the males as compared to females. Now, another disorder of the skeletal system is called as the osteoporosis. In case of osteoporosis, there is the demineralization of the bone. In other words, the osteocatalytic activity of the bone is more. And this osteocatalytic means that the calcium from the bones is gradually being removed, making the bones porous. And this is resulted because of several factors. One of the reasons of osteoporosis is due to deficiency of calcium and or vitamin D. Another reason of osteoporosis is hormonal. For example, osteoporosis is caused because of excessive secretion of parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone or Colipus hormone is a hormone which brings about release of the calcium from the bones. It is also caused, in case of women, the estrogen hormone has inhibitory effect on the role of the parathyroid hormone. But after menopause, when the estrogen levels of the female fall, then such females become more prone to osteoporosis because of this osteocatalytic effect of the parathyroid hormone. So we have seen that this osteoporosis is caused because of many factors. Osteoporosis may be caused because of simple deficiency of calcium or the vitamin D, or it can be caused because of the hormonal imbalances. Osteoporosis have been found more common in the women, especially after the menopause. The osteoporotic bones are more prone to fractures than the normal bones. So here you can see again in the image, this is on the left is the healthy bone and towards right is the osteoporotic bone. So you can see here, in case of osteoporosis, the bones develop certain pores and giving the bone a spongy appearance. Such type of bones are more prone to fractures than the normal healthy bones. So this was about the osteoporosis. Now let us talk about the final disorder of the skeletal system, which are the fractures. Now fracture is actually a break in the compact bone. A break in the compact bones have two parts. One is the compact part of the bone and another is the spongy form of bone, ends of the bone. A break in the compact bone is called as the fracture. This fracture is caused by usually due to mechanical injury. So a break in the compact bone that is caused by a mechanical injury is called as a fracture. Now fractures are very rare. Fractures are very rare in children because children have more organic matter than the inorganic matter. While as in case of old people, in elderly people or elderly people, fractures are comparatively common. The reason is just opposite of the these children. In case of children, there was more organic matter and less inorganic matter. But in case of aged individuals, there is more inorganic matter. There is more inorganic matter and less organic matter. As a result of this, the bones of the elderly or older people are more prone to fractures than the bones of the young children. Fractures are of several types. So here I will be showing you some common types of the fractures. There are many more types, but these are the most common types. First type of fracture is called as the simple fracture. So you can see towards the left is the simple fracture. This is the simple fracture. In case of simple fracture, there is complete breakage of the bone. Bone is completely broken into two parts. But the two parts of the bone do not pierce through the skin. They are still present at their place. The bone is broken, but it is placed at the skin. It does not pierce through the skin. This type of fracture is called as the simple fracture. In case of simple fracture, bone breaks completely into two. Bone breaks completely completely into two. The second category of this fracture is called as the compound fracture. In compound fracture, bone again is completely broken into two pieces, but here at one of the pieces pierces through the skin. So here is the broken bone coming out through the skin or piercing through the skin. Such type of fracture is called as the compound fracture. So a compound fracture differs from the simple fracture in the way that here the broken bones, they pierce through the skin. So that will be called as the compound fracture. A third type of fracture, this is found in case of children. This type of fracture is called as the green-stick fracture. In green-stick fracture, the bone does not undergo any breakage. So here the bone simply develops a crack. Bone will simply develop a crack. There will be no breakage. There will be no complete breakage of the bone, but the bone simply develops a crack. Such type of fracture is called as green-stick fracture, and these green-stick fractures have high recovering power. Fourth type of fracture is called as comminuted fracture. They are also called as the compound fracture. So here comminuted fracture. As you can see, in case of the comminuted fractures, a bone gets broken into several pieces. When a bone is broken into several pieces, then such type of fracture is called as the comminuted or the multiple fracture. So this results in production of fracture results in production of multiple pieces. Multiple pieces of the bone breaks into multiple pieces, more than two pieces, then it will be called as comminuted fracture. Next type of fracture is called as impacted fracture. Impacted fracture, in case of impacted fracture, the broken bones, they will converge or get merged towards the another bone. Here the broken bone extends into the another bone. So this is more serious than a simple fracture, because here the bones, they will be extended into the another piece of the broken bone. This type of fracture is called as the impacted fracture. So these were some of the common types of the fracture. There are more fractures. For example, there is one more type that is called as evulsive fracture, where there a chip breaks out from the bone, but it remains attached by means of a small ligament. So that is called as evulsive fracture. But these fractures are the common fractures that are found. So this was about the disorders of the skeletal system. So in this video, we have talked about the various disorders that affecting the muscular system. In muscular system, we have discussed three disorders. One is muscular dystrophy, another is myasthenia gravis, and third was poliomyelitis. And in the skeletal disorders, we talked about arthritis, we talked about osteoporosis, and we talked about the fractures. Arthritis can be of three types: rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, and the gouty arthritis. And osteoporosis is because of several factors, we have seen that, and osteoporotic bones are more prone to fractures. And fractures we have discussed are of different types based on the number of the pieces the bone breaks in. So hope you have enjoyed the lecture. See you.